think I should play Phasmophobia while we do this.
Okay, now we're live.
Mm.
Okay, it's
We're
been a
on the
while.
theater show.
Yeah, it's been 3 years since I did a live stream, and I have a
Hot
different profile
damn,
picture.
he's gone through puberty since then.
Yeah, so yeah, I have a guy who is particularly known throughout my inner circle, liberal Sanity Project, who's currently socially identifies with a black social archetype. Might want to change
Yeah.
that name.
No, it's I was having another debate about transracialism. Somebody kind of reduced racial identity to something to that effect. Um, so I like adopted it as like a moniker during the debate.
All right. So the reason why we're having a conversation on my channel is that the other night we were talking about God, or the very least, the moral character of God and the morality that is presented in the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
It was a rather intense conversation. I figured this is a conversation worth having in my channel. Hopefully, be a bit more tame and a bit more interesting. So, so tell me, what is your religious and spiritual beliefs, just for the people know they'll know.
I would say I'm philosophies I identify with on a spiritual level. I would say like the Buddhist notions of suffering really like speak to me. That you got to understand the nature of suffering, you know, conquering suffering. It's the key to better lives. So I guess that would be my spiritual identity. So I guess you'd say I'm an atheist that's spiritually Buddhist.
Oh, Buddhist doesn't require a god.
I know that. Secular Buddhism.
Yeah. So
The
yeah,
Buddha is not a god.
yeah. So and what caused you to get disenfranchised with Christianity? What caused you to drift away from the religion?
Um, a confluence of different events intermingling at the same time in my life. So there was my parents' divorce was going on while I went to like a hyper Christian school. Um, there was also the gay marriage debate happening like in society, and then I actually read the fucking Bible. So like I had my own little crisis of faith in like my teenage years. Um, as I got older, the stories stopped making so much sense to me, and I kind of started like I seem to be like the only one who's like recognizing there's something wrong with some of the stuff that the story says or what people say about these stories. I remember once in school, at my high school, Town East, we were having a conversation about gay people because Brokeback Mountain was like in the movie theaters, and I remember like somebody in class remarking something to the effect of, the Bible says we're supposed to put them to death. Like, we just said it super casually. Um, and this was like as a way of like demonstrating their mercy. I think like they were like trying to like interweave this story with like a lesson about Jesus and grace, but it just like hit me all like, okay, God wants to kill gay people, like what a dick. It made sense to me, or it stopped making sense to me.
Um, for me personally, around this, around I was still, when around I was, let's say I'm a teenager or preteen, I was
Mhm.
questioning a bit. I was watching video. I was just watching videos about atheist content on God. Like I was like in a phase of questioning, but I never really stopped believing it. I just thought this was like interesting stuff. Interesting, a different perspective that was new to me. So like, you familiar with Dark 525 videos or whatever?
Yeah, dark matter.
Yeah, that was the guy I was watching when I was like growing up. I was just like watching these like really funny cartoons, making fun of these stories and the absurdities of the story. It was like fun, but I never came, I never stopped believing. I never stopped believing in God, and till I got older. Um, until the thing with me is I always felt the presence of God in my life, and I've always just sort of felt it. So I never really questioned it. It's like a weird feeling I cannot really put into words because I always felt like I've been fortunate and lucky, and there's been instances in my life I felt like I've been like there's just things I shouldn't have gotten away with, or things that just happened. I just felt very fortunate because of it. That's um that's when I was growing up. And I guess now, due to some things happening in my life, I won't get into detail. That there was a point in my life not too recently that I hit a low point. I felt that God left me because I was in a very depressive state, a very low point in my life mentally and just spiritually, because I was just going through a whole lot of just turmoil and blaming
Yeah,
myself.
you had a
And
crisis of faith. It's a thing that happens. Yeah.
I wouldn't say, and and until recently, I guess I more so discovered God and look into these stories, because for me it's just more so like I want to understand. It's driven because I want to understand people. I want to understand the psychology of people and understanding the stories, because I do think the Bible contains a lot of psychological insight that's not always really apparent. You just need to read it carefully,
Yeah.
and that just sort of kick started my journey back to like let's take God a bit more seriously in my life, and let's take this a bit more seriously. And what really started this path, I watched a video by this really great YouTuber named Wendigoon, who had where he discussed Paradise Lost for over an hour and a half. It's a great video, and really moved me to it really moved me to tears, just about the tragedy of the fall and what it really meant. Because the Bible just kind of described these events, but with John Milton, he really put a emotional spin to what has been lost, and that kind of just then I sort of just jumped into the rabbit hole. And um and um I decided to buy the King James Bible, mostly because I'm writing a book, and and that's been influential in the English language for over 200 years now, especially in American culture. It's like the great American epic, the King James version of the Bible. And because I wanted to just write the prose, try to imitate the prose, and try to write in a quasi biblical manner in the story I've been working on since the start of May or the late of April. So here we are, because it got me, and more so on my own journey, reading Blood Meridian and other works by Cormac McCarthy really got me interested about the nature of God and the very nature of creation, and the stuff that is really profound in a way that just spoke to me on a deep level. And someone asked you a question. Hi, little
Okay.
Liberal Sanity Project. What happened to your channel? Why your channel no longer has contact?
Um, I pissed off a lot of people on social media who made an admission to try to sabotage my job.
Okay. Sorry about that. So that was my little diatribe. You have any questions for me, or
Off that, no, not really. You
uh,
kind of just told me your story.
okay?
I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
know what I'm supposed to say to that. Like shit. Like yeah, okay. You have highs and lows, and sometimes you feel its presence. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes you're tested. Like I don't know what to say to that. Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry. I don't know what to say to that.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Maybe I should have just. I'm not a great storyteller. unfortunately. So yeah, so back to the reason why we're having this conversation. We really just, well, you really grilled me on the questions of the God that's presented in the Old Testament in particular, and you want to recount like your your position on the moral character of God within within the Bible.
From yesterday, I think if you take I wouldn't say this is really my position, but this is I would say if you were to take your God to be the God of the Bible, you should have some serious ethical quandaries with the God you're choosing to worship. Um, if you take him as this literal being, what makes the most sense to me as far as these stories go is that he's probably just an amalgam of political and religious doctrine at any given time that reflects the culture of the people who worshipped him. Like I think that's just all it is. I think that's what makes the most sense to me. It would explain some of the barbarism and lack of humanity we regularly read about in the Bible.
And that's a fair position to have, because the way I try to view the Bible is that I understand, particularly in the Old Testament, that um, this was written in a historical context for the ancient people of the Near East. So they would have like rather what we as modern reader will see as rather barbaric practices today. Especially there is verses in Deuteronomy and Leviticus um, that that basically clear, oh, if you're cheating on your wife, you're going to get stoned to death. If your child is disobedient, you're going to get stoned to death. Like stuff like that. That seems um, rather unsettling.
Yeah,
But
I wonder why.
yeah, but and the reason why this doesn't bother me as much as it is because I understand that this law, this old covenant in the Old Testament, was for that was for that people in that particular time. This was situated in that cultural
Oh,
context. So the Torah was for the ancient Israelites and the people of Judah or whatever. So that's why I take that as okay. This this is not a perfect moral law. It was never meant to be a perfect moral law, because that's where my position lies in that this is a
I guess I just thought if I was God, I could make a perfect moral law, right?
yeah, yeah, but
Like I wouldn't it wouldn't be more perfectly moral to stone like a little girl to death for not fighting her rapist hard enough one day, but then it's like, yeah, I've just now it's perfectly moral not to do it. Like you can't have it both ways.
I mean,
That's pretty fucking immoral.
there is an idea within Christianity, progressive revelations that we should have, that over time, moral truths will be revealed to humanity. Just that, just like over time. So like, I think it's perfectly fine to say that yeah, some of the Mosaic law is barbarous. I think it's perfectly fine for a Christian to say that because we're
You're
not
describing
bound
God as
by
barbarous.
because we're more bound by by what's called the new covenant that was formed in Christ within his death. But yeah, but on
I just
the
wonder why the first covenant wasn't good enough. I mean, it's God. It's like fuck, do over. Is God calling for a mulligan? Like I think he'd get it right the first time, right? He's God.
it's been suggested that it's been suggested, and it's also like a consistent throughout the Bible, that God will work through people through whoever their means and what they're willing to do. Because for one, the Israelites and we as a people tend to be really stubborn and blind, that we have to kick and scream for something to change, and usually takes like something horrific to just wake us up from our own follies, and that's
This kind of makes God
was
seem manipulative. Like, okay, but what is it he wants us to do? What is he working through us?
like this thing.
Like,
So
if you prescribe this power to him, you give him command and ownership over everything, right? So what did he try to do with the Holocaust?
Holocaust.
Yeah.
Oh, so, okay. Now we're getting
Do you think
into
this
the question.
happens without God's say so?
What?
The Holocaust.
The Holocaust was a choice of a group of people. There's a reason why free will is essentially important to Christian theology. Not all of the sects of Christianity, but that is like the main focal point, that evil exists because we choose to do evil. It
Yeah.
has to be a choice. And if evil so let me put this in before I lose my concentration of thoughts.
Yeah, let's
So
go.
the thing is to get over this argument that God permits us to choose our own paths in lives, our own. He allows us to make our own decisions, that we can either come to him or not come to him. We can do good.
Really, our decisions are shaped by our surroundings. 100%.
I mean, that's a different country, but let's say it is, though, that we often have we are free agents for the most. We are free agents.
But
And
we are saying something that's contested, but yes, let's say it.
okay. And the reason why God permits evil is that we as a people, this goes back to Genesis, that we invited evil into creation. We invited death, that the serpent in the story of Genesis tricked Eve to bite the apple of knowledge, waking it, opening her eyes and seeing her that naked, which is technically the first sin, and the second sin is secondly lust. But there's that notion, and without this binary of good and evil, I would argue that a lot of our choices in life would not have any meaning. That our ability of
You need
choose
evil to give your life meaning?
No, you don't need evil, but the ability to make our own decisions and recognizing later what we did wrong is important. That's how we gain wisdom through experience, wisdom through trial and error. That's
Yes.
the point.
I mean, I agree. That's a good learning mechanism. I'm not sure how this relates to making life more meaningful, though, with like heinous crimes and shit like that. It's like we learn from the Holocaust, so it's okay. Like, I don't understand like what this argument.
It's like learning from like, what can we learn from the Holocaust? A lot of people take away that this can never happen again. That's the general consensus that people come to. This will not happen again. There won't be a rise of another Hitler, another Germany.
So then God let the Holocaust happen so that we learn not to do another Holocaust?
I wouldn't say God let it. I wouldn't say God let it happen. I would just say that was a choice of people. That was a
choice. God saw people making this choice, and he's like, okay, I'm going to just stay hands off, and you guys go at
it. It's okay.
Does God do anything?
Does God do anything? I mean, I believe God gave us the tools to do what's right, but it's just like a tendency of humanity to do the opposite of what is right.
Oh, okay. So he's just going to let us do it wrong? He gave us the tools and sees us doing it wrong, and he's just like, yeah, well, fuck, you got the tools, though. I don't know how to take this argument.
I don't know, like, Judd, it seems like you want if you accept the notion that God is, let's say the God of the Bible is real and is an entity, you seem like you want him to take a much more active and interventionist role within.
Yeah, like, why else would you worship him, right? If a God's not actually doing something for me, why the fuck would I want to worship him? Yeah. he wants my worship. I'd like him to actually do something. Like, holy shit! Like, don't let the Holocaust happen. Maybe. I think that's the minimum I could ask for, right?
But this goes to like, but the thing is with God and his with his, I guess, silence. Well, he is perpetually silent,
which is a problem because he demands my undying devotion too, right?
I wouldn't say that's a problem, but
you wouldn't say it's a problem that a character that will not communicate with me, does not make its presence known to me, demands my devotion to it. You don't see a problem with that?
The way I see it,
or else I suffer penalty.
The way I see it is just that you have to hear and see God, and that's always a choice. And when you hear these testimonies, like let's say from Paul,
sure,
like Paul the apostle,
just when I'm talking about God doing more, it's like, yeah, it would be nice to hear and see God. I would like to hear and see God, rather than work in mysterious ways through the odd person that gives me a few bucks or something like that. I'd like to actually hear and see God. And no, maybe my problems or the problems of other people is being taken seriously. Right? God's like a magical accountant. You make a report. That's what a prayer is, and then he's just gonna like shuffle it around, and something's gonna fucking happen eventually. You know, but it's gonna be like after a whole bunch of like bad shit first. You don't make him sound appealing. Like he's just like, I don't know how to respond to this.
Like again, like I'm just trying to make it sound appealing. I'm not trying to make it sound appealing of words. I'm just hearing you out. I'm just giving my perspective. Like this is not like a conversion. This is just This is just two people just talking about this in a serious way. So like I'm not being like yes.
I'm actually just going by your logic. I just keep asking you questions about what you're saying.
Again, like just get in the point of like why did God like. The thing is, I don't even like the framing of the question. Like, why did God permit the Holocaust? I say the Holocaust was the work of humanity. Like, you know,
God has nothing to do with the Holocaust.
No, that was totally what works of people. That was the works of men.
So did he like not know what was going to happen?
Again, I'm not. Okay.
Did God know the Holocaust was going to happen? Would you just sneak up on him? Like he must have known it was going to happen, right? Please tell me God knew the Holocaust was going to happen.
Of course, he probably did, but I don't know God's mind. I don't know his intentions.
Well, let's assume since he's all powerful, he probably knows the Holocaust is going to happen. Ergo, he could probably stop the Holocaust. Ergo, choosing not to stop the Holocaust is allowing the Holocaust. Like I don't know, you could say like. Humanity's one. If you really believe in an active God that intervenes in people's lives, it seems really convenient that he gets to own all of your wins and none of your losses.
I wouldn't say that. All of my wins and none of my losses. I think that's a very simplistic way to view God, the works of God in a way, just because
it seems like a very direct way to view him, actually. Like this is a creature that exists over us, right? Exists in a different dimension, a different dimensional plane, with absolute control over our lives.
I wouldn't say he has absolute control over our lives because
he has the power to exact absolute control over our lives, right? He can make us do whatever he wants.
Yeah,
he's God, right? He can change matter, right? Okay, demands our worship. We agree?
I wouldn't say demand our worship.
Asks politely. What happens if we don't worship him?
Nothing really.
Oh, okay.
You live like this.
Why would I worship him?
So it's your choice.
What do I get out of worshiping?
The thing is, it's your choice to. The thing is, it's important for me as a guy, and me who like I'm a fairly chill guy, but it's important that it's your choice that you choose to walk in this path. Or it's not. It's important. Like you're not going to hell for it. You're not going
like a spiritual guide leader. Yeah, great. But like, I guess if there's no consequence for not worshiping him, why would I worship him?
There's definitely going to be consequences, but
okay, so it is required.
I wouldn't say it's required. It's just like it's your choice, and there's going to be consequences that follow the choice. He will deliver you into the path that you walk, basically. But again, I don't. Yeah, I'm not going to say
I'm
is
just
like you're going.
curious. Like, it's like a hypothetical. Like, there's a bank robber and he's pointing a gun at somebody. He's like, "Give me all your money, or I'm gonna shoot you." And the guy's like, "I'm not giving you shit." Did he choose to get his happy ass shot?
No.
He made a choice, and there was a consequence. He could have just handed him the money. Why are you saying that?
Okay, it's a rock. Okay, that is like under duress. Okay, free will. He still exists in this situation.
There's consequences for not worshiping God. How is that not under duress?
That is.
I feel a lot of duress.
Under duress, like if you turn away or walk away from God, there is going to be consequences, but I can't say what the consequences are because it's your life, it's your thing. Like,
so he's going to get me, but I don't know how.
He's not going to get you.
That's what it sounds like you're saying. There's going to be consequences. I don't know what they are. He's going to get you, though. That's what you're saying.
He's not gonna get you in like a malicious way. He's not gonna take a bat to you, crack your skull.
So not in a malicious way. He's gonna do it in a neutral way. I'll show you in some way that doesn't actually hurt. Like, what is he gonna do?
That I cannot know.
I'm so lost. Why do I want to worship this guy? Okay, so to be clear, we're worshiping a guy who's not demanding, he's asking. And there's consequences if you don't, but you're not being forced. I can't tell you what those consequences are, but he's going to get you, but not in a bad way.
I mean, it could be a bad. It could be a bad way.
That's pretty much the entire conversation we just had.
But, oh my god! I need to turn the camera on because I am just. Okay. Oh, it's okay.
I don't mean to demean your beliefs. I'm just asking questions, my dude.
I mean, it's fair to ask questions. Like I ask you.
I have actual questions about like the moral shit of it, but it's like you're basically like, no, God doesn't have anything to do with any of the bad stuff, and all of the stuff He has is good, so you can't blame Him for any of it. Like, I don't know how to respond to this. I don't know what conversation we're having.
I mean, okay.
Your position already seems like bad to me.
Okay. I'm just going to articulate this position as clear as I can.
Okay.
As clear as I can. Okay.
Go for it.
So
I can't believe Bay didn't want to stay for this conversation. Bay is insane. This is gonna be fun.
Okay. Throughout the scripture, okay, I wasn't really entirely being honest because I do want to have this serious conversation, but throughout this, a consistent theme throughout the scripture, throughout the Old Testament and in the New Testament, is that if you turn away from God, it is your own choice, it is your own volition, but He will deliver you onto the consequences of your choices. That it's ultimately on you at the end of the day. And
I use like Lot's wife as an example. Like turning away from God Lot's wife turned her into a pillar of salt, right? She got turned into a salt stone by God. Why? Because she turned away from Him. Okay. Let's just say, like, I'm telling somebody to follow me or I'm going to shoot them in the head. Right? Am I forcing them? Is it really just like they're free to turn away if they want to? Like, where do you get this theme out of the Old Testament, I guess? Because it seems very clear to me. Turning away from God carries punishment from God. It's not like it's a choice. Like, how do you fucking do? You don't get that choice. If you do, God's going to kill you. He makes it clear several times in the Old Testament.
Yeah. So, since you brought up Genesis, oh man, Genesis 19 sounded good. I just read, a little off track here. I just read the book called Cities of the Plain, which is like a great slow book that kind of deals with the themes of Genesis, of that story. Yeah. But with that story in mind, like Lot's wife, he turned his wife into a pillar of salt. I honestly need to re-realize that story because I did just read Genesis 19 recently, but it's just that. But I'm basically going to go off off on my own interpretation and what I read and what that story meant, because with Genesis, with that story in particular, and put in it a whole context of it. Keep in mind, Sodom and Gomorrah is a very violent story of the Bible. It does detail a lot of sexual violence, and God was going to
Familiar with
smoke.
all this.
Okay, but this is for
You don't have to
for
explain
the
Sodom
people
and
who
Gomorrah.
might watch.
We know the.
But I'm just explaining it for the people who might watch this later. To keep in mind, like at some point, Abraham asked God to spare the people, spare the righteous. And God said, if I find 50 righteous men, I will spare the city. It was just that, and this happened again in actual Exodus, where Moses, please spare these people. Like, it's a consistent thing, and God would relent. So God is in this kind of, you can kind of infer that God is a being of at least second chances, that he will give you another chance. And when he saw the city in its disarray, he did smote it, sparing that family of Lot and of that stuff. With that thematic line of Sodom and Gomorrah, it is it's important to listen. It's important to look at the chances, look at the opportunity to turn away from this. But a lot of people will basically will stick to their ways until they are punished for it. That there's going to be a drastic penalty or consequences for it. But God is, from a streamlined basic interpretation, God is a being of patience and second chances. If you screwed up, you're just you're going to eventually die, because that is the ultimate penalty. That is death.
So he'll kill you. And Sodom and Gomorrah screwed up too many times, so he killed them.
Yeah, you can say that.
That's what he did. Yeah, that's what he killed them.
Oh, but it's also only noted should note this, that God only acted when they just refused him. So it's still a choice. It's still free will. Yeah. Just
even the children though, they have free will. He nuked the whole city, right? So presumably the children of Sodom and Gomorrah were probably murdered too. Do they have a choice? Do they choose to be evil?
He basically, from my understanding, he basically raised the cities of the plain. Let's see. Okay, when it came to pass, God destroyed the cities in the plain, and that God remembered Abraham and set Lot out the midst of the overthrow, and when he oversaw the cities with the Lot dwell. So yeah.
Okay, so even the children, he killed even the children. And they deserved it, right? He gave them a second chance too, right?
I'm going to say no.
He didn't give the children a second chance?
Are you referring to children within the cities
of Sodom and Gomorrah, which he destroyed? Yeah.
Probably not, except that one family.
So they didn't really get a second chance.
You got me thinking about something else, but about that. But anyway, that's Sodom. Yeah, this is Sodom and Gomorrah, one of the most famous and infamous stories of Christianity and Judaism, which people constantly misinterpret to justify their homophobia and other horrible stuff in the modern world.
You think if people were misinterpreting it, God could just like come down and be like, "Yo, hey guys, I know you like this story. I gotta tell you, shit, fucking game. Sorry, Phasmophobia cheating me right now, dude. Why
It's plain.
Christmas fish are not taking? Oh, that is just booty. I don't know. I guess I feel like destroying entire cities, including children, for not being righteous enough after second chances strikes me as like a very vengeful sort of justice where, you know, if I'm really all powerful and I'm really all intelligent, I feel like I could just help them be better without killing all of them. You know, like that. I'm just thinking like if I had this kind of power, if I had a can-do attitude, you know, are these guys like, I don't know, is it like a demon daycare? Like it's just like I can't get them to behave, so you just like,
Thing is about the
I
wrath
mean,
of God.
even like Lot's wife, it's like, dude, I think you overreacted a little bit. Like you killed her. And we're not even
Thing is,
talking about the drunk gang rape part either. Damn. What's up with
thing,
that?
the thing is with the thing was there's an interesting thing I watched recently about Problem Evil by this Christian philosopher guy, and where he quoted several people. And one of those quotes were this guy witnessed the slaughter of Yugoslavians during the war in the 90s in Europe.
Yeah.
And he said that, let me find the thing real quick about this interesting point that kind of stuck with me for it's been in my head. So please forgive me since I have to look this up now because I don't want to get the quote wrong.
I won't forgive
But
you.
please keep on
time.
just this time. Thank you, almighty liberal sanity project.
Thank you. I like the sound of that.
Okay. And let's see. Okay.
You ever like wonder like what if the poltergeists don't believe in God? Like is the exorcism gonna work?
I gotta ask the Catholics on that. Okay.
You know, Jesus
My
was like
my
an OG exorcist. Dude, they should make a Jesus themed exorcism horror movie. Oh, that would be so badass. Dog, I need
okay.
I need to write a script.
Okay. My people were shelled day in and day out. Some of them are brutalized beyond imagination. I could not imagine God not being angry. Though I used to complain about the indecency of the idea of God's wrath, I came to think I had to rebel against a God who wasn't rightful at the sight of the world's evil. God isn't wrathful in spite of being love. God is wrathful because God is love.
He's angry because he's love? It sounds like shit an abusive person would say.
And you're attributing that to a higher being, sure. Because look at this from this perspective. Since we're assuming, for the sake of this conversation, I know you don't believe in free will, but let's say free will is a factor, that there is free agency. And it's more so that God allows this. I don't view God as a wish fulfillment machine. That's not how you're supposed to view God in the business. Like God is supposed to come down and give you
what does God
tenets.
do for me?
That's not what I. It's not what he does. He's not. Supposed to do for you.
Yeah, what is he supposed to do for me? What are the reasons I should want anything to do with God?
Okay. The most basic reasons is that you being born into this world of evil and corruption, you are a sinner from the get-go. and only through His grace He can save you from death. That's it.
Save me from
That's the
death. Does that
Christian.
mean I'm
That's
not
the
going to
Christian
die?
narrative.
The Christian, yeah. What does save me from
It
death mean in the Christian narrative? I
just
go to heaven,
means
right?
you're going to be with Him.
In heaven, in a physical place. Like, what does go with Him in spirit?
That
Like, I'll
yes,
like. Well, there's
it
still
just means yes.
continuation
You
of my
be with Him in
consciousness.
paradise.
Okay, and I'll be with Him in
Yes, you be in paradise. Yeah.
okay. So if I'm like
Well,
skeptical,
you know this stuff. I don't know why you're asking me.
I'm want to hear it from
me
like
these
the way you explain it. Because I think these are. I think you're. Yeah, I'm going to offend you. Well, I probably already offended you because I think you're giving me bumper stickers.
I'm not trying to give you bumper stickers.
God is wrathful because God is love.
Like
That's not a bumper sticker.
it
Oh
was
man.
a quote from a guy who witnessed war from the 90s, and he said that he basically said, "I'll have to rebel against a."
I guess I don't know what you're doing with that quote. Like, do you not have a problem with this statement? God is wrathful because God is love. It seems like it's an indictment of God. God's angry because loves you. Like,
God is okay. Again, this goes. Yes, Pomen. That is LSP. But that's the thing, right? God is right. The thing is that we as people. The thing is, this goes to the nature of sin, right? Sin is a sick. Depending on your interpretation, I don't want to say orthodox or Dostoevsky, but sin is a sickness that corrupts the soul, that gives way to evil.
mm-hmm.
And we often do evil to each other, against each other. The point of the quote is not that God is wrathful not because He's being loved. God is wrathful because He loves us, and it should be in a way to be somewhat radical and sound potentially a little bit unhinged. That God will be in this right to basically wipe us from the face of the earth because we are basically not doing anything. We're killing each other. We're killing these people. We're killing ourselves basically. But He only done that once with the flood, but He's not going to do that now.
I'm curious. Can't He just take the ability of us to kill each other away?
And that destroys the purpose.
This is so bad.
The purpose of free will because it's not so bad.
Free will
it's not
serve the purpose
okay.
of letting me kill
not,
somebody?
You're not. Huh?
Wait, is free will supposed to serve the purpose of letting me kill somebody? You said that destroys the purpose of free will.
Like God shouldn't just come down from heaven and take like, okay, that's not. I don't want that happening. I don't want my agency to be taken away like that.
I do. Why? Wait, you don't want the ability to murder somebody to be taken away from you? You want the freedom to murder.
That's okay. That's not particularly fair to ask.
That's what we're talking about. God could just stop murders from happening, right?
That's not how God works.
Why not? He's God. Why can't He just work like that? Like, hey, no more murders. If it's so bad, if He would be justified for wiping us off the face of the earth because we do it so much, how come it can't also be the case that He could stop us from doing it? Should just stop us from doing it. If this is so bad, why does He let us do it?
It always begins with a choice. It's a thing. Mm-hmm. You're asking me. God gave us the powers to stop this from happening. We have laws for a reason. You can't just go up to shoot someone in the face. Well, you can, but you're going to face consequences for it. That is the penalty of it. Consequence, like every choice we make, there's always a consequence that follows from that choice, good or bad. And depending on that, we have to live with it.
Yeah.
Like I do not want a extraterrestrial being saying like you can't do this and I do this anyway. Like hold on.
Why? You want
I don't
anything else. You want him giving you paradise and like telling some people they're not allowed. Like, what do you mean? Like, you're fine with him inventing the consequences. I think like it seems a little messed up to like create a condition where something could happen and then to penalize me with the consequences of that decision in the circumstances I exist in, right? Like, hey, you know what? You know who murders people? Like people brought up in fucking gang culture, right? People who are like live shit fuck lives, who got mental health issues. Like, I don't know, man. Like maybe just stop. If this is such a bad thing, if you're God, just stop people from doing it. Like, I feels like if I'm God, I could do a much better job. Just don't
And
murder people. Hang on, I'll be right back. I'm gonna take a piss.
Okay. Hey, can ask Pomen if he wants to come on. Hey, you wanna? Yeah, come on. Boy, my boy. Well, let's keep on talking. So, okay. That is my brother in the casket, and he was a minstrel dancer. That was my brother in the casket, and he was a minstrel dancer at Cincinnati, Ohio, and shot to death over a woman in over
What is
protest
up, my
until the
good
judge
sir?
raised both hands in silence.
Hang on, I want to see where.
Ah, man. Well,
all right, Voltaire's up. What's your channel?
I'm about to send you the link to this video.
Okay. All right. I can't find it. Oh well, whatever. Anyway. So, God. Part of the source of my frustration
You're
is
basically saying if you were God.
Yeah, if I was God, I feel like I could do better, right? If you grant God the condition that he's all powerful, all knowing, everywhere, it seems like if if the world is a certain way, it's because he either allows it to be so or enables it to be so. So it's just like, why would I do that? You know? Yeah, I think the source of my frustration from God comes from this kind of a duality and in being for him, where he is simultaneously a purveyor of good and a subscriber of all things good, you know, endlessly merciful and loving, and then simultaneously we're to suffer consequences for circumstances beyond our creations, problems for which he could easily solve, problems which if he did solve would make the world a measurably better place. There's a duality that's always apologized for by apologists, by believers, and it seems like he's simultaneously good when it's convenient, and when he's bad, it's because of other people. It's never really his fault. He bears no responsibility over it. So I gave that Holocaust as an example. I think that's a serious example. I think that, you know, to some degree, I've been tongue in cheek for a lot of this, but if you really believe this being exists and you ascribe him all these powers, you should be asking why the Holocaust happened, and you should feel frustrated at his either enabling of it, allowing of it, or role in it, if he had any. And I don't think that's an unreasonable position to take. And it seems like when I talk to believers and apologists, and this was like one of these things that jaded me over time. So it's not just you; it's a common theme. But as I talk, it seems like everybody struggles to say something that was obviously bad and shouldn't have happened. They can't attribute it to God. You know, when God works for you, it's great. And when bad things happen, He's working in mysterious ways. And it becomes hard for me to reconcile His role in the world with all of its evils. So you're right. We got terrible problems with evil in this world. It's hard for me to give Him any credence at all when He does so little, if anything, to actually stop it, and He has so much potential and power to do so. And if that's Him working in mysterious ways, work in less mysterious ways. You know, women don't need to be raped. People shouldn't be stoned to death. Right? These are things that shouldn't happen. Torture shouldn't happen. People should have quality lives. No child in this world should go to bed hungry. No person should have to struggle as they do. You know, there's endless pain in the world that He could easily solve. And when people apologize for it, they always present it in this kind of abuser apologia dynamic, that allowing that pain and allowing that misery is somehow a demonstration of His love, that He's just granted us this ultimate freedom to experience all these things. What do you want? Do you want a dictator who stops you from murdering people, or stops other people from murdering you? Even like you struggle to even say that maybe God shouldn't just allow murder. I think that's an easy thing to say. God shouldn't allow murder. You shouldn't be able to murder other people. You should be able to kill other people. I don't think death gives life any more meaning. It's certainly not when your life is snuffed out prematurely. Something God could easily stop, but doesn't. There you go. You got an unvarnished opinion.
Okay. And if you're what I'm getting at, if you're God, you will prevent all of this happening, all of it, all this evil in the world, all of it. This shows the
I think
way,
if you
the light
have
of the
the ability to stop evil from happening, I think you have a duty to stop evil from happening.
Then,
and I think you would agree.
Why
I think
why are you indicting God instead of humanity itself?
Because God has the ability to stop it.
But we have the ability to stop it.
Yes, and we should. So does God, and He should. He is over us, right? He's a higher being, right? He should be held to a higher standard. He should stop misery. He should stop the endless bounds of suffering in the world. He should stop working mysterious ways to get it done. If He really has an agenda that involves improving this world, making this world more compassionate, living by these justly principles, it shouldn't be hard to convey this without the misery. Concepts like forgiveness, mercy, grace, like these are beautiful. These are absolutely beautiful. And there is some elements of spirituality that's associated with these concepts, that you ascend a higher plane of being when you forgive people for their transgressions, even against you. That's a very noble thought. You don't need to create or allow those transgressions to happen to experience how higher it is, though. It's kind of gross that you have to subject the world to some degree of suffering and torture to appreciate the ways you can be more egalitarian to each other. It actually reminds me of there's a good Star Trek episode, Voltaire. Actually, my ex-girlfriend had shown me this. You ever watch Star Trek: The Next Generation?
Heard of it, never watched it.
Well, there's an episode where they're looking to set up this colony, and they find this planet, and it's just beautiful. All the people are happy, they're frolicking, everything is just perfect, right? It is functionally a Garden of Eden. So they go down in this sort of exploratory mission to go and look at the planet, and there's all these smoking babes around, and they start figuring out how does your society work? How do you get these results? And they basically say, we have a death penalty that is absolute and prescribed by God for any minor crime, that it's made us a happier society, right? God would kill us for any infraction. Would you say a God that does this is a just God?
you were robotically being on my part, so I got bits and pieces on that. Said my
Okay.
connection is a bit unstable, so I'm sorry.
Okay. Yeah, let's just move this microphone closer. So, well, okay then.
So I got the part you're talking about Star Trek Generations. I got bits and pieces of the plot. It was kind of incomprehensible because it
Don't
was just
sweat it.
roboting on my part. But I would say it's this.
Mm-hmm.
God would not want any of this suffering, this death, this living in fear and anxiety, because we did
Well, he
start
must
off
want it a little. He keeps
as
allowing it to happen,
divine
right?
being. It's not, but it's more so that we're we're supposed to be. We were made in the image of God, as the Old Testament really will beautifully put it, and we were supposed to be perfect beings.
Mm-hmm.
And we were never meant to kill. We never meant to toil on the ground. We were never meant to. Women were never meant to experience the pains of childbirth, or that men are forced to toil in the ground with being
We're not
pricked
meant
by
to do
these
that. Why don't
thorns.
God just like make us not do that then?
That was never supposed to happen.
Yeah. If we're not supposed to, if that's not supposed to happen, why not just fix it?
But the fact is, is that when Eve took the bite of the first apple and gave it to Adam afterwards,
Mm-hmm.
and they were instructed not to do it in the first place. That was the first. That was sin. That was meant with drastic consequences.
Yeah, it
That
was
was a
clearly. Why was
choice.
that so bad?
Like, you
Why was
describe
it
this
such
as
a bad choice
as
to make?
a abuser
Yeah.
dynamic. Why not just see it as like, uh, why not just see it as a father just disciplining his child, his young child?
Well, I mean
Why
the
not see it like that? And
I mean, what is this abuse we're suffering? I'm sorry, discipline. Like death, right? Like
that's, I mean, to
pain
me,
in childbirth. Like that's just disciplining. We're being disciplined.
face orange, raise eyebrow. Funny.
I'm sorry. Like you said, so the consequences
Okay, I'm
are
about to
death,
invite
right?
someone in.
Okay. You did say the consequences
Yes.
were death, right?
Okay. Let me ask you this.
Okay.
Yeah, but let me ask you this real quick though. Do you believe that humanity is innately good?
I don't think that's a question you can answer with a verifiable good or bad. I think humanity is generally a product of their surroundings. They're not innately anything. They're innately a slave to their
Okay.
environment. Like that's what they are.
Slave to your environment.
Yeah, like they're gonna generally be as good or bad as their
Because
environment allows them to be.
so yeah, a Swedish man with a very charismatic voice will appear.
My man Pomen, been forever since I've
Much
talked to
more
that dude.
charismatic than yours.
Thank you.
This is, oh man. Actually, this is way more productive than I thought this was going to be.
Yep, totally.
Okay, let's talk. Okay,
Well,
he actually has a
well,
degree in this.
well, 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 well. Hello.
This is
My
my
old
favorite
friend
person in the world,
Pomen.
Pomen. He's
My
very
favorite person,
charismatic,
Paul. We haven't spoken in
very
ages.
intelligent.
Not in
Thank
a
you.
hot minute. How are you, good sir?
How are you? I'm good. I'm good. You remember me, LSP?
Of course, you are an
Ah,
unforgettable
nice.
person, unforgettable
Thank you.
personality. You have a very sophisticated manner of speaking, and you are highly intelligent.
Thank you very much. I'm grateful for those comments.
Why you can't say any of those things about me, man?
Why do you fucking think?
No, but like to say one positive thing about Voltaire, he brings in the weirdest of guests, like
I
at
guess
random
so.
intervals.
I am the weirdest. I even told him, like, I'm not even an expert on this subject. Don't even talk to me, man. Like, I warned him ahead of time. I was like, okay.
Like, what brought you to talk about this topic in particular? Because I'm
We were
sorry.
having a conversation like 2 or 3 days ago. What, fucking 2 days ago? Is it 2 days ago?
Yeah, it
Or
was 2
yesterday?
days ago. Yeah, it was 2 days.
2
days
man.
ago.
Like, I've had terrible insomnia lately. We were having this conversation about like why he believes in God in the first place, and when we're walking down the reasons, like he's being asked about like his own, like we're using like the Book of Job as like a metric for like God's morality of justice, and he repetitiously tries to absolve God of any responsibility for anything that happens, and ascribe to God anything good that happens. So in the Book of Job, for example, like it's the devil did it, God wasn't doing anything, he had nothing to do with it. He's just letting the devil do it just to see, but he's not telling, like, that's like how he's framing it. It's like, dude, like, firstly, like we go in a bit into the history behind like concepts like Satan. Again, not an expert, but I know like Satan in the Old Testament was just like a generic character. Not we're not.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
They don't become the Satan until the Book of Job, and it just means the critic, the adversary, the opponent. Yeah, like I don't know, man. Like he's apologizing for the worst fucking stories, and then he wants to have the conversation here. So it's like how it kind of happened, man.
No.
I don't know. I took 2 months.
I just thought it was.
Now I'm here.
Like, I do understand where you're coming from. I mean, in particular, the issue that you're facing is the theodicy problem. Is how can there be an omnipotent God that's all good and all great and can do whatever, and still there be evil?
Yeah, precisely.
Now there are obviously multiple answers to this question. The question is, which of these answers do you prefer?
I don't tend to find any of them satisfactory, but you can shoot for your own. I'll see what.
No, I mean, sure. I mean, the aspect is twofold. That's kind of wanted to say. It's the idea of free will and the idea of original sin.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, if you believe in God, you must believe in the Bible stories, and whichever way you take them. So take the Bible stories as canon. God giveth man free will. He will not control them like he does the
circumstances. That's actually what
with one exception. It's like, okay, I will give you everything. As you said, it can't murder. They can't murder. They feel no pain. They don't see each other naked. But there was just one exception, and it was to not eat of the fruit of the tree of knowledge yet. They will eat it later. Like God will give him permission to eat. Adam and Eve.
Jumped the gun.
They jumped the gun. Obviously, they were tricked by.
They're tricked. So, I mean, don't you like already have a problem with that fundamentally? They're tricked into it, but they suffer the punishment for something.
Yeah, no, because they still did wrong. Like even if, just because
they don't know
tricked you into doing the wrong thing doesn't mean you're not doing the wrong thing.
But that's the problem. They don't know.
That's not a problem. They knew enough because God had told them, and he still chose to do it.
Why did they choose to do wrong?
I mean,
I'm sorry, I'm just killing this whole story, aren't I?
No, you're not killing the story.
First
of all, we don't know why God did it in the first place. The question is, you're trying to.
I'm wondering why they did wrong. If they knew it was wrong, God.
Yeah, why they did wrong? Because
why would they do that?
Because you do wrong. Because we do wrong.
We do wrong for reasons, right? Like I steal because I'm hungry. I steal because I'm greedy. I steal because I want to get rich. Like I can do wrong things. They're usually motivated by a reason.
And you think those are excusable?
I don't think any of them is excusable, but I'm saying there's an underlying reason. So I'm wondering why Adam, knowing this was wrong, knowing God doesn't want this, why he would do something he knows is wrong.
Why he would do something that he knows is wrong? Because imperfection, I'm guessing. Like there's a lot to the story. The
Do
question
you find
is,
that unsatisfying? He's not perfect.
yeah, he's not perfect. He's not an angel. He's not this particularly archangels. But a lot of what human history has been is humans trying to find, not back to God, but trying to become better and better throughout time.
Yeah.
So the question becomes, oh, well, why did, for example, the Tower of Babel? Why did he destroy the tower and made all the languages? Well,
Just real
because
quick, are you using these stories in a literal sense? Like, do you believe these stories literally happen, or are we just looking?
no, I don't believe it
as
literally happened. No,
okay.
no, I don't. But I'm using them in a literal sense because you get my point.
Sure.
You got to use them.
Third Pomen is supposed to be like, I mean, it's full of parables and
no, it's
just clearly just oral
that's
tradition.
That's not the point. That's not the point. So again, Tower of Babel. Why? Well, humans try to reach godhood, even say they are God in a sense. They have now reached the heavens, but they are still imperfect.
When he sees the Burj Khalifa.
Yeah, but the point is not the length of the tower. The point is they're not ready yet.
I know, I'm just kidding. I made a fucking joke, man.
So it's a constant development of human knowledge and human understanding until a point where God will come, Christ, the Messiah will come and rule for 1,000 years. But even in the book of Revelations, it says even after 1,000 years, humans, even though they are literally with God, they literally know right from wrong, there will still be people who doubt. And at that point, we don't know what happens afterwards. But because the Revelations only talk about the 1,000 years, and then the Book of Life, I think it's called, after the 1,000 years, which is when we will fully understand the aspect of death. So
that element of doubt is the prevailing theme of, of Revelation. You're presented with a conundrum in that the source for a lot of doubt. So doubt in Jesus as Messiah, or doubt in God's existence altogether, or even doubt in the Word of God and how it's supposed to be used. That kind of doubt might lend itself to bad decision making that's a byproduct of circumstances beyond one's control, right? Like I didn't choose to be skeptical, right? Like I just am. Like as with all traits, you just kind of are things. It's a byproduct of circumstances beyond your control. Yeah. You know, if you're raised in a really Christian household and you got church every Sunday and God's there with you all the time, and you're reminded of that every time you have a meal, it's very easy to find your way into heaven following rapture. You know, and if I'm a fucking rape victim, because the Catholic Church molested me, like it feels like I'm being punished for doubt under circumstances that conditioned me to doubt. Like, how can you say my will is free?
How can you say? Okay, interesting. No, you're definitely circumstances of trauma, for example, but it's still like, even though the point with Job is, regardless how bad it got for him, he never lost his faith. It was just an example of, it's more of a oral tradition story, yes, but he never lost his faith, and he got rewarded with it in the end. But particularly, he got rewarded, as we all will in aspect of Christ, with eternal life, with no longer doubting, with knowing the truth. But we're here on earth as a sort of a test, as to see if you are capable with what you have in front of you, with all the traumas they have gone through, to still do right from wrong.
Yeah. I think
because even the thing is, sure, even though you might not believe in God, and that's completely fine. I'm not judging you with that aspect one bit.
I don't really know.
No, but you still.
I've agonized enough over it.
But regardless of your own trauma, you can still say that you're here on this earth to at least try to do right, or at least
I could say that's a personal mission I've set for myself, but only through the circumstances of my life did I discover this mission. Like some people, they don't have a purpose beyond just survival, and that leads them to do bad things. And they don't have that purpose because they were born into conditions that require them to act a certain way to maintain a certain status or elevate in a certain way. It's like blaming somebody for living their life wrong in a gang culture when it's like it's actually just all they've known. It strikes me as a little unfair to have to be
And you-
measured against higher standards here.
And you don't think that a person, let's say, who lived the entire life in a gang culture will ever have opportunities to see what's right and wrong, to see that they can leave, maybe, or maybe try to survive within the gang
Well, I mean, that's the
culture,
problem is
but do less damage.
they need to be provided the opportunities because they
Well,
live their lives.
if you're
in
Christian, you do believe the Gospels are that opportunity, the texts, and most Christians will believe that regardless of where you are in life, they will usually be provided to you through God's revelation or through God, the Holy Spirit. And we know for a fact that the majority of gang, especially let's say Latin America, are Catholics, so they have the Gospels there, and yet they choose to do wrong.
Well, do they choose? Like, how is it that these people can wear like the symbol of the Catholic religion, clearly have some knowledge of God, what God wants, and still exist in circumstances that would that we would consider so unethical and a violation of God's will? Like, what's making them do this?
But that's still interesting. How you want to remove free will from people completely, just the opposite.
Well, no, I want to explain why they're using their will in the way they are. Like, I want an explanation for that. If they have free will, if they are making these choices, what is it that's making them make these choices, right? Why would they be making these choices?
Why will they make to do ill? I don't know. It's material gain.
Who made, right? Like, if we're made to do ill, who made us?
God made us, but God made us with free will. If God chose us to make everybody stop, then we're no longer human. Then we're no better than the angels, which doesn't have free will. Certain angels doesn't have free will. But he wanted us to learn from ourselves, to learn from our free will, to learn, especially after the fall, to come back towards Christ, Christ after 2000, but
I
go
think
back
you're
to
running
God.
into the same problem Volt was, like the free will to do what? Rape and murder? Like,
to do right. The free will to do right, not to rape and murder, obviously.
We're not, so we don't have firstly, we don't all have a universal definition or idea of what right and wrong is in this world.
Correct.
You know,
and no one knows. You have the gospel as an example.
Why doesn't God just come down and tell us?
No, but you will be judged upon your behavior in judgment.
But that seems my problem. Like, we don't know which behavior is acceptable and unacceptable.
But the thing is, if like throughout your life, you know exactly everything right from wrong. You were told everything right and wrong from the get-go, and you had no free will to say, "Oh no, I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to say yes, 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 yes." That's not a life. Then you wouldn't understand why you're doing ill, why you're doing right.
We're not all told the same rights and the same wrongs.
Correct. No, that's
right.
Correct.
And we're not all faced with the same conditions and of right and wrong all the time.
No, that's correct. And I'm not saying there's a universal right or wrong here.
There isn't, which is like my problem. Like, we're being judged based on these actions. We're being given totally different standards by which to live by, in totally different conditions and circumstances.
Yeah, but God, like in Judgment Day, will be judging you accordingly to everything that's happened throughout your life. And if you did, like, for all the actions,
does this mean like that? Does this for all the actions that I've done?
Yeah, because I might say to you, you have done wrong in this thing else, but you shouldn't be on the internet. You know, maybe with you that is morally wrong. But in the end of the day, I'm not your judge. I am not the one in the end of the day that will tell you what is right.
But I'm wondering on what metric I'm going to be judged by. Is it that I tried my best to do what was right?
Yeah.
Could this mean that Adolf Hitler could get into heaven? If Adolf Hitler truly believed he was doing right, could he get into heaven?
Probably not, no.
Okay, so then what's the metric then?
I don't know. I'm not God.
Okay, you said the metric was to be judged according
to God.
And that's
to the standard that I tried the best I could to do what was right, right?
Yes.
Okay, so if I was given a bad standard for right, and I carried out that standard in such a way that I inflicted tremendous amounts of pain and suffering, right? Am I judged as having done bad? Like, will I not get into heaven, or will I be judged on that I tried my best with the information I had?
Well, I will let God judge that. I can't say.
I'm scared of this fucking guy. I don't know what he fucking wants. How are you not scared of him? Listen to what you just said, man. Like, so you admit we're all taught different standards.
We're all flawed. We're all imperfect. We all will do wrong. It's like innate in
don't-
us to do wrong.
Some of us
Even
will
if
do
you think
much more wrong.
Yes,
and suffer
correct.
much more because of it.
Correct.
And we don't have any real metric to tell which is right and which is
no,
wrong.
we guess. We have. I mean, we have the Gospels. We have
I'm
text.
scared.
If you want
I'm
to
more
use
scared
that,
of people.
but like we have measurements, I guess, of right and wrong sorts. But in the end of the day, we don't know. We're not an objective measurement of right and wrong.
Okay,
And
so
if
then does that not strike you as a little unfair to punish me then? If I don't have an objective measurement for what is right and what is wrong, and I'm being judged based on my misbehaviors and transgressions in life, how is that fair? I don't have a metric to know what is right and what is wrong.
And
how could I
agree.
know before?
No, and I agree with you. I fully agree with you. It is, in a sense,
so it's unfair.
Yeah, but the thing is, life is unfair, at least for the now.
Well,
we will
God
know.
Be fair?
We will know. That the point is, he has, like in the Revelations, he had told, we will know. Just not yet, because we're not ready.
I feel like life should be fair. I feel like if you're God, you should make life fair so that you're not punishing people for circumstances beyond their control.
Yeah, but then you wouldn't know. Because it's about development of humans as well.
But that's
again with Adam and Eve.
Terribly boring.
Well, we don't know fully what the reason for existence is, according to God either.
That's a practical joke, man. He's like, I want to see what they'll do with these fucking monkeys.
Maybe. We don't know.
I'm gonna put this one full of testosterone. I'm gonna give this one gender dysphoria. Fuck you.
Maybe.
I mean, why does God make trans people? Does God make trans people? You know, there's a lot of trans people that might have that question for themselves. Uncomfortable with their lot in life for very good reason.
And that's questions you should try to ask.
We should actively ask that question, right? Why does God speak as he does about gay people in the Bible? Right? Speak as he does with such disdain, hatred, and judgment, right? Yet make people who are like this.
That's it. That's good. It's good to question. Like the thing is, it's never been throughout the Bible that you should not question. It's good to question.
Okay.
Usually, because the thing is, with the obviously you have to ask the questions and sort of honestly.
What was dishonest about the way I asked the question?
No. I'm not saying that you did anything dishonestly. That was actually very honest what you said. The point being, like, you should ask. You should never do it like God, with anger. More or less, like, you can ask God. You can pray towards him. And
I feel like anger is easy to have. I mean, if I'm a gay person or a trans person who is regularly demeaned in such ways, I think it's perfectly reasonable to be angry. I think, especially if you really believe God is the ultimate architect of your life, that he molded you, knew of every hair on your head from before you were born, knew exactly what you're going to be. If you truly believe, all-knowing and all-powerful, you have to be wondering why he did this to you.
Yeah. And you will get the answer. Yes, not yet.
Isn't it unreasonable to ask me to have devotion to such a creature that he made me in such a horrible way, talks about me in such a horrible way, allows such horrible things to happen to me, but I'll get some answer in the future for why?
Yeah, maybe it's a test for you.
What a terrible test to put somebody through. Why would you do that? What are you testing for? How suicidal you can make people? Like, it's disgusting.
Because they're testing you.
We don't know. We don't know. Even though I can say that, the thing is, I don't know. I'm not God. Like
I'm sorry. It's kind of the Voltaire problem again. Like, is God the architect of both good and evil here? Like, you have this same problem. God is impotent to stop my suffering. He is powerful enough to punish me for my misbehavior. And he's merciful enough to give me opportunities to learn from this. Like, this doesn't strike me as loving. This strikes me as abusive.
I think you can use other religious and point of sacrament. We call it suffering is part of life.
Yeah, that is true.
Why? Why do we have to make this part of life? Why can't, like, a God that is all-powerful, all-knowing, everywhere, make life better?
We can make life.
He will.
Why
He
doesn't
can make
do it
life better now.
Why do I got to suffer first?
It'd be boring if you don't suffer.
No,
So I'm suffering for your entertainment?
No. That's a bad answer.
Okay, I was kind of joking there.
I get your fear, and the point is, God is also all loving, but he's also very terrifying in a sense.
In a
But
sense.
oh yeah,
In a
little bit.
Oh, he is.
Some people get this idea about him sometimes, I don't know why.
No, he's extremely terrifying.
Yeah.
So yeah,
but
something about killing your firstborn son is terrifying.
Yeah,
I wonder why.
Yeah, but the thing is, I mean, throughout, especially by early human history, everything has been about suffering. There's a lot of pain, there's a lot of death, there's a lot of struggle.
Yeah.
What makes you unique just now to fix it now? So it's like you just gotta push through it. But just keep trying.
I want to push through it. I believe me, I want humanity to try to push through it. I don't understand what the point of the other guy is if he ain't gonna help me push through it.
I mean, maybe he helps, but you don't know it because you have a house, you have
can't he just
belly?
Why can't he just do it? Like, he knows these are my problems. He knows there are people who are being raped. He knows there are people who are being enslaved. Why can't he just stop it? Why need these people suffer first? If you are so powerful, you could just stop it in the moment. Stop it. What sort of person are you?
I fully understand your issues with this. It's a normal thing to question. It's actually one of the first things usually people who try to follow Christianity ask. Why does he allow suffering?
Mm-hmm. Job asked this very same question, and God just told him off. He's like, "Hey, I make lightning strike, dude. You can't know. None of your business." And I'm sorry, I'm not. I'd rather stand on my feet in hell than.
No, you won't. No, you don't want to be down there.
Than be told that I don't get to know why I'm suffering. That I'm out of place for questioning why horrible things. Like, Job's entire family was killed.
Mm-hmm.
He was stricken with boils. His reputation was tarnished. Everybody hated him. God actively ruined Job's life and told Job, this is the lesson of the story. We can't know why, and it's not our place to know why. I'm sorry. If I'm a product of his creation, I demand to know why. I think I have that right. Every living creature has a right to know why their lot in life is conditioned as it is.
Job did wonder.
Oh, he did wonder. He asked the exact same question you're doing right now.
Yeah, God said, none of your business. I make lightning strike. Yes, he did. He told Job off.
Let's see. Chapter.
There's some point where Job starts to trash God, and God's just like, you can't know why I do.
I got the Bible in my hand right now.
Yeah. At this,
so you want to go over this from Job? Because Book of Job is my favorite.
I can't. We're not disagreeing on this. It's just factually true. I don't want to go into it. You want to find the scripture and tell them or whatever, Google it. I don't care. But this is factually true.
It's a little bit more complicated than just that. But I do understand. Again, I do understand where you're coming from.
God damn it! I'm gonna die.
Indeed, you will die.
Oh, in the video game, dingus.
Are you afraid of death?
Very much so. Yeah, aren't you?
No.
Why not? You don't know what it's going to encompass. It could be painful and horrible.
It could be.
It seems like that would be something you should be afraid of.
No, there's nothing to be afraid of in that aspect.
Well, how do you know?
Because whatever comes, comes. If it's darkness, it's darkness. If it's light, it's light. If it's hell,
eternal
it's hell.
Punishment. If God's just like a bully with a magnifying glass and he's just fucking with you the entire time, a little bit afraid of that?
No, because you judge him too harshly.
I'm not judging him at all. I'm just saying the possibilities are endless. You should be afraid of death. You don't know that it's going to improve anything. It could make anything worse. It seems to be why we're very afraid of death. It seems to be a very logical thing to be afraid of death. It's a condition of the unknown, a ceasing of our conscious experience. I think that's pretty terrifying.
No.
Mm-hmm.
If you believe it, nothing. It's a slumber. It's an endless slumber. Back again.
It's an endless slumber.
I like life. I'd rather just like live forever.
There's
You know, not in that hokey hippie sense that Jesus means, like actually like a vampire or something. You know?
hey, I don't know. They said that death is nothingness but a curse. I mean, death is. I messed up that quote. But they said that live and carry death everywhere is a foretaste of a bitter memory. But once you die, there's just nothingness, and nothingness is far from a curse. That's how I
Feels
view
like
death.
y'all are like Arya Stark. Like nothing can be worse than this. Nothing is worse than this. Nothing isn't worse than anything. Nothing is just nothing. Fucking Arya. Just
I mean,
contradicted herself, bitch ass woman.
Nothingness is far from a curse.
Okay, well, I don't think you believe that.
When it comes to just that you're dead, you're dead. Yeah, but dying
So it's
sucks.
no consequence. Oh, okay. So the part where you get to nothingness, that sucks.
No, just dying. Dying, it's painful. It sucks. Death is just death.
Yeah.
What is dead can never die again.
Okay.
That is actually from Games of Thrones, by the way.
I didn't know that. I'm here, Sharky.
All right. He can keep yeah, I can't speak. He keeps getting in and out, I see. But anyways, LSP, what the hell have you been on about for the last few years? What have you been doing?
Teaching, almost getting fired from teaching. All that stuff.
Teaching what?
Social studies.
Social studies. Oof. What's your topic within social studies?
U.S. history.
All right.
I'm told my kids like my class.
That's nice. So how can you nearly fired them?
I'll tell you later.
So, did you ask me a question or no?
No, you disappeared from us. As always.
Don't worry. I'm just on my phone right now because internet is kind of wonky.
Yes. So Voltaire, what have you been up to?
I've just been writing and just going on with dates with people. That's been yes.
All right. So what happened with the previous person?
And I am. It's confused. Wait, I have to think about this because when people ask me this, I'm just like, I have to take a moment. Like, which girl? What girl? What girl? Like you know, that's where I am right now. Because I talk to too many women right now.
Bruh, fucking player.
I also get called out a lot in real life.
Okay, I was sarcastic, but sure.
Oh, I get called Casanova sometimes.
All right, Mr. Casanova.
But anyway, Job. You want to talk about Job?
No, we feel very complete with that topic for the moment.
Yeah.
Man, I really want to just read God's speech to Job because it's really long and really complicated.
Yeah,
that's what this stream needs: reading a really long and complicated speech.
Yeah, it is more complicated than that, but I fully understand where you're coming from, LSP. I'm not judging you on this one.
Okay.
It's fully understandable, and it's something. I mean, and you're not seeking faith for the moment, so. But usually, when you seek faith and you have that question, it's a heck of a question to.
Seems like it's like the question you should be asking, right?
Yeah, definitely.
You give so much
I mean, it is one of the biggest questions, and a lot of thinkers have thought about it. But I mean, you're completely fine asking them.
Totally valid. Very much valid.
There's always so many answers to it. Some that I personally dislike a lot. I mean, I personally dislike you're saying, "Oh, Satan did it." It's like, okay.
Thing is, I want to be careful with my language because I am willing to condemn Satan because Satan just came along. I believe I can turn your greatest follower against you. And so, okay, go ahead. And it's like
finally, somebody stands up to Satan.
No.
Not today, Satan.
Bruh, I think Satan is the story from Paradise Falls. Bruh. No, but no.
You mean Paradise Lost?
Paradise Lost. Is it? It's not.
Yeah, it's Lost.
Ah, goddamn.
Paradise Lost.
What the fuck was that
Great.
thing about Paradise Falls?
Sprechen Sie Deutsch, Pomen?
Nein.
Paradise Lost is a fiction. Just making that clear.
But the rebel.
Great literature though.
Oh yeah,
really
absolutely.
great.
What's your mother tongue, Pomen?
Swedish.
Swedish. Okay. Not German.
No.
Okay, I can't speak Swedish.
Mi spricht mein Deutsch. No, I don't speak any German.
But yes, suffering. Thinking we'll become more like God, and we're end up paying the price for it. Well, interesting.
How do you feel about like the white nationalist obsession with Swedish women? Ever make you like a little uncomfortable?
There is none. I've never seen.
But there's a huge white nationalist obsession with Swedish women.
Thank you for bringing up the alt-right on my channel. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Like I can't show this to people. I can't show this to people I know in real life now.
Yeah, I'm sure that.
I'm sure
it's because of that. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, definitely. I'm sure people would love to watch this. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about it.
Booms.
But man, all of this started because I just read Blood Meridian.
Uh-huh.
You ever read that book?
No, I have not.
Oh yes, it's a
Wild West story.
Yeah, or the anti-Western, but it sticks with you, hauntingly so.
The genius of evil.
Like, if there has to be a good representation of the devil himself, it has to be the character of Judge Holden, because that's like he is very much terrifying, because he is essentially how can I say this? Throughout the story, he essentially wants to control everything. And throughout the novel, he is making notes of every little specimen, and he has this famous line saying, "Whoever exists," he said, "whether it exists without my knowledge, exists without my consent." And it's actually quite terrifying. So what you've been up to, Pomen? You have a think tank now. How's that going for you?
Really well. Really well.
What are you thinking about?
Stuff, you know.
A little more specific.
Stuff and more stuff. That's
are you still affiliated with our old acquaintance of ours?
Jump the ship.
Oh. Useless.
Nah, just kind of, yeah.
Oh, but have you contacted him though?
Of course.
I think he misses you. I think he does.
Hugs, brothers. Hug.
It's so cute how this community speaks in euphemisms.
Yeah.
Yeah. What community? I'm not part of any.
Shark. God damn it.
I'm not part of any community.
No, he's not. He's a random black fella that goes around, talks to Jewish economists a lot for some reason.
I mean, there's a lot of them.
No, but Walt seems to have a thing when they're just randomly having interviews with Jewish economists. It's like, what the fuck?
And I'm also writing a book.
What's the book about?
I have no idea, but I did post 2 chapters on YouTube of a friend reading it.
Why are you reading a book when you don't even know what the book's going to be about?
I mean, right now it's changing, so I don't want to give a definitive answer, but I'm just writing about this guy who's a part of a mercenary.
of Leonhardt.
Yeah. Yeah. It's quite... Actually, since I'm hearing you talk, the guy who's helping me with the book has a very similar voice to yours.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Fuck, what? Gore, profanity, sexual content, traumatic content, okay.
And it's not perfect.
I
need
go without saying.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that's been fun to write. I've been writing it since May, and I'm trying to put it everywhere I can.
All right. Michael laying. Okay, that's wow. That God. I'm sorry. Oh Lord. Yeah, to say that it's not good. It's yeah. Ay. Oh, cat in the back. Michael lay laying at the at the fork in the road. His clothes in tattered, half starved, his back sunburnt. He curled up like an infant, too weak to crawl on his belly. This is awful. Then he felt tremors in his heart, in the earth.
Oh, it depends, because that's just like the first chapter.
Michael lay laying.
Laying. I probably should just say lying in the fork in the road, but is it terrible? I don't know. Is it terrible or not?
It's too perfect now. You can't change it.
Yeah,
it's not perfect at all. Like, I have to read.
If you write with an introduction that bad, it's going to be remembered.
Yeah,
you gotta keep it. It's almost iconic now.
I don't think it's that. I don't
He felt it was getting closer and closer. He moved his head to see over the horizon. Men in plate and ringmail riding roughshod on
roughshod.
Roughshod. Sorry, in distress. Oh, fucking Christ!
The alliteration galore here.
Roughshod. I don't know what that word means, so that's why.
It just means that they're riding really, really hard and fast.
You didn't consider the Swedish-speaking demographic when you wrote this, did you?
They were in a tight and menacing formation. Michael tried to move with all his might, but to no avail. Get up, come on, stand on your feet and live. His inner voice screamed, "Live?
Live."
Is that how you spell live? Like live? Okay. Phenomenology.
Okay.
So, you're not good English. Okay.
Live.
Live. It's live.
Live. A man rode in the front of the
Can you stop reading it now? Because there's like an audio book on the channel.
Nah.
No, this is more fun. I like this more.
No, I don't want him to read it because he's going to. It makes me. I want to read it because
You've smoked so many cigarettes to get a voice that beautiful. Just keep going, man. No sense in wasting it.
A man rode in front of the company to meet the boy laying the fork in the road. As he approached further, Michael thought he was some demon from the shores of hell. His helm was a snarling hound. He wore a black plate with...
His helm was a snarling hound.
Yeah. He wore a black plate with bronze inlays and was adorned with a red cloak. He dismounted
it makes me. I'm reading. Okay, I'm reading this now because I can't take this.
You didn't read it before?
No, like I can't take this narration because it's not good. It's not great.
I agree. It's the narration. It's not good.
Because
yeah, definitely narration's fault. Definitely not the text I'm reading here.
Well, you mispronounced roughshod.
Like, wow, the fucking word no one's ever heard of before. It's nothing to do with laying. It's Michael laying. That's not the issue.
Plus it's kind of if you read it. Plus it's kind of supposed to be done in a southern accent. I
gotta say, Voltaire, you could tell you're from the Midwest, and I love it. I think it's the most adorable shit. I just want to hug you.
Wait, the Midwest? What does that mean? Like, explain yourself, man.
You say you were from the Midwest earlier?
Yeah, like what do you mean? Like that? You could tell?
Yeah, it's pretty obvious.
LSP, why did you remove a lot of your content, by the way?
Or
all of it, even.
I got canceled on the internet.
You got canceled
again.
There
what did you do to get canceled this time?
I posted a picture of my classroom with a pride flag. I directed this at Lids of TikTok because I thought they were like a very hateful account, and it's just like, yeah, fuck them. Okay. They're talking some shit about some other teacher, and I'm like, you know what? Teacher solidarity, bitches.
Turning the Chronicles of the Kingmaker, Rise of Leonhard. Turning and turning, the riding gyre. The falcon cannot hear the falconer. Things fall apart. The sentry cannot hold. Mere Anki loose upon the world.
The blood. Start again, please.
What?
Please start again.
Oh, this is just the beginning poem since I added this section of the poem. Turning and turning, the riding gyre. The falcon cannot hear the falconer. Things fall apart. The center cannot hold. Mere anarchy is loose upon the world. The blended tide is loose and everywhere. The ceremony of innocence is drowned.
Okay, I'll tell you the problem here. Okay, Voltaire, you're talking at your audience. You're not talking to your audience.
Okay.
You're just listing. You're listing descriptors, and you're leaving it there, right?
This is just a poem I put. I'm just reading a section of the poem I put in the story.
That's a poem.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's called The Second Coming. The Second Coming by William Butler Yeats. He's an Irish poet.
In your story, I need to know whose poems to skip.
It's just this is not really part of the story. It's just like a setup. It's supposed to give like context what the story is supposed to be about. Mere anarchies are loose upon the world. The blood-dimmed tide is loose and everywhere. The ceremony, the innocence is drowned. Plus, let's see. Michael, I really need to get rid of lay lying, because I don't know why I put that there, but Michael lay lying at the fork in the road. His clothes and tatters.
All right, I don't want to hear this, to be honest. Anyways.
Yeah.
Well, it was nice meeting you again. Very wholesome conversation. I didn't expect that. Expected me to go in here and just be rude to you, but I wasn't, so.
Does that sound like me?
No, you're not a rude person.
I am a rude person.
No, LSP is not the rude person.
No.
You're a dick. I'm great.
I'm just a person who talks to everyone.
Yeah, definitely. But anyways, it was nice conversation.
Yes, sir. Anytime. Don't be such a stranger.
Indeed. Goodbye now.
Bye.
Why do you have to read my story out loud? I'm kind of mad because they didn't do a great job of reading it.
Hey, man, if you're going to send it to us to read, you got to deal with the consequences, man.
Okay, you're God now.
I am God? Thank God. Finally.
Okay. But, okay, he was a bit mean because this is not badly written in my eyes. Because Michael is surrounded in darkness.
You're very alliterative. You know what that means?
What do you mean?
You don't know what alliterative means?
Oh, you mean alliteration?
Yes.
Oh, I do that on purpose.
It makes what you're writing a little awkward.
I'm trying to write in a very poetic style.
I mean, I think poetry can flow, and I don't think you convey that flow with your alliterations.
So, okay. Writing roughshod on their destriers. Yeah,
there's a reason Pomen struggled to read this, and it's not because English is his second language.
Let's see. I don't know. I'm going through my document because I do want to read something from this. Fortunately, I don't give my characters big monologues, so I can't really read what I write. Or actually, maybe I can. This is from chapter 2. Toshiro Mifune returned to his quarters at the center of camp. He placed his long bow and sword in his weapons rack. He sat at his desk, lit a candle, and grabbed his quill to sketch in his notebook. He was a skilled draftsman. The economy of strokes filled the page, and its dimensions were pristine and precise. An artist revealed his heart through their drawings, and Mifune's heart was longing. He felt an invisible touch on his shoulder, and he placed his hand there. The drawing was the wife he left behind and the child he abandoned. Mifune went to lay on his bed, staring to the crimson wash of the tent's canvas, and fell asleep. He dreamt of his own home on the outskirts of Miura City, a modest dwelling of stone and mahogany woodwork. Mifune leaned against the doorway to the nursery, watching his wife play with his daughter. And his wife. And there's some dialogue I cannot do. And honestly, Pomen is also the really second person that just totally had like a negative vibe to the text. What do you think?
I mean, I'd say just don't take it so personally and just keep working at it, man.
Okay. Need to have big rewrites. Big rewrites. Just damn.
Listen, I'm gonna start to work out here a bit. On my dad bod.
It's not too late. You can lose weight if you want to.
Yeah, I meant like right now. Like I'm gonna get off the stream and go work with my dad bod.
Ah, okay. Talk to you later then.
Yes, sir.
Well, here we go.